Welcome to the Queer Witch Project, your resource for all things queer and witchy. I am Damona Peacock, your fabulous, non-binary, neurospicy, ordained queerdo with a hyperfixation for all things symbolism, cycles, and patterns.
And I am Moonkittee, your queer femme poly kitchen witch and proud geek. Today's topic is Kitchen Witchery Winter Edition.
Yay!
I feel silly because we've been doing so many of these various kitchen witcheries, but there really is one for each season. So
yeah. No, I like that we have. I've noticed there's this pattern where we talk about a season change and then we have to talk about a kitchen witchery approach to the season changes, which is great because I'm learning so much from you and I love having these conversations.
Me too. And I've learned so much from you and I'm glad I can give back a little bit over the years.
Yeah, equally. I don't like the a little bit part. You give back. I love you.
I love you.
So what's the vibe of a wintry season kitchen witch? What they doing?
Well, like today, it is cold and gray and a little bit rainy, and just like I've got the sweater. I'm all like bundled up with the swetter and everything.
I'm sorry, I'm just hot all year round.
Yes, you are. But no, I guess like today it's where I'm at. It's just cold and gray, and I'm going. Okay, I want to feel cozy. Because again, same thing. Sometimes I wear tank tops in the middle of winter all the time. So
yeah,
totally understand season wise. But yeah, no, today it's just one of those days that honestly, when I get to middle of winter for Kitchen Witchery, there are several things I do, but the biggest thing is I go fully cozy. I mean, I want to be in the fuzzy blankets, in the fuzzy sweaters, in things that just make me feel and have nice soft textures. I want to just be in that moment where I am warm and safe and comfy. Ideally, even growing up, reading a book in a cozy couch, reading a book in a couch with a blanket wrapped around you by a big window where you can hear the rain coming down. It's still the best this day.
Oh, I really like that. I don't know if like everybody nowadays values like putting the phones down as often, but like getting into that cozy mood where you're like picking up a physical book and just like something warm to drink and the softest, fuzziest everything to be wrapped up in.
And I fully admit that my reading has shifted over time to electronic formats, and you can still do that with your phone or an iPad. It's just the idea and listen to the audiobooks and do the coziness. It's just really a matter of self-care. Yeah. Ultimately, what it truly comes down to, when, at least for me, when I'm focusing in the wintertime, it tends to be around some sort of self-care-esque kind of application. So it's reading. Sometimes it's learning a new craft. So this is my chance, like, hey, I have to slow down. I can't go outside and do things because of the weather or whatever it may be. So here's my chance to learn how to do something new. I do a lot of sewing projects in the winter. Or recipes, because again, you know me and cooking and everything else. So I try new recipes. In fact, I tried a new one last night. It was, I'm trying to think if I have any that I can go run and grab and show really quick. But I saw this. It was making little pumpkin shaped biscuits out of canned biscuits, and they're stuffed with cheese and a pretzel, and you kind of cut them up and you wrap them around and you bake them, and it makes these cute little pumpkins that are cheese filled with a little pretzel stick.
Yummy.
And so I made those for dinner last night, well, part of dinner last night, and trying new things like that. Yeah, doing baking, cookies, all those just kind of fuzzy, warm comfort foods. That was the other thing.
I love warming my home with baking in the oven instead of using the central heat, because it's such a dry air. And and then you bake and you warm your home hearth and home up, and then everything just smells so good.
Good. Exactly.
Yes. Baking is like big self-care, like indulgent stuff for this season for me. And I also love like the learning a new craft. I once upon a time when I was I come from a long line of crocheters, but I'm a left-handed person, and it was a little harder for me to learn, and ADHD and all that good stuff. But I still remember that my grandma would always work on big blankets, crocheted blankets during the winter time, and she would tell me that she's like, that way she has her project warm, keeping her warm as she's keeping her hands busy and watching her soap operas. So that's kind of what I thought about when like learning a new craft. I'm like, oh, it'd be really cool to crochet a blanket again in honor of my grandmother.
Oh yeah. No, I love crocheting. It's one of the things I learned as a child, and I really do enjoy doing it, but I just get distracted. So I rarely am able to make anything big enough like a blanket to stick with it. But I did crochet some towels a couple of years ago, and some like
Nice.
little mini baby blankets. But
I've done baby
but
blanket. Like I understand the concept of crocheting, but like it always felt a little bit harder for me because of the left-handed approach. But I
right.
feel like what I haven't done is tried it post, technology.
Yes.
And I'm sure like TikTok or YouTube would like save me one of these days. Maybe I'll learn a new
Exactly.
craft. Maybe
Maybe
that's
hey,
that's
this
my
is the
like.
prime time for you right now in the middle of January to learn a new craft.
Okay. Well, we'll see if I hold me to this. I'll try. Maybe I will.
Maybe you will. The other thing too is I know this is not your forte, but I was telling my roommate I met earlier this morning that I'm ready to bake scalloped potatoes again. I know you can't have it because you're allergic, but I really, again, growing up, scalloped potatoes and ham were a huge thing. So I make a variant now of scalloped potatoes and bacon, and well, it's fine for me as a full meal. It is not apparently for everyone else in the household.
That's a
So it
side.
becomes a side dish, but also becomes a great breakfast dish for
Oh
the
yeah.
next few mornings.
You're like
So
leftovers. Hello.
yeah, so it's doing that. We're talking about pulling out the crock pot
Oh
and getting the big
yeah.
things that can do that, because it's just a matter of, like you said, keeping busy, keeping warm, comfort foods, new recipes, all of those things just kind of tie in. And it's just that little bit of, if you're your kitchen, what you're doing things with love. When you're cooking and doing things intention, you're adding that love ingredient in there. And again, for me,
That
food has always
coziness, that
been that.
snuggliness.
Yeah. It's just that food is a love language. Truthfully, I don't know what language it would be in the five technical whatevers,
That
but
was
for
written by
me,
a man.
I know,
We don't even listen to that anymore.
I know, we don't pay attention to that anymore. Memes and food. Uh,
Hey, look, I believe that memes is the internet prophet.
mm-hmm.
Have you ever had like a meme slap you in the face and like
Oh,
say something to you that was like, God dang it, that's a message from Mercury or whoever? I'm
right.
just
Or
saying, I believe Mercury slash hate Hermes would be like the patron saint of the internet prophets. But
oh,
yeah, I do
fully,
believe they exist. And
fully,
I do
fully.
also believe the Discordians exist too. Yeah, so it's not a pure,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. It's complicated.
Yes, I do. I feel that sometimes you see a meme and it's like, oh my God, so and so needs to see this.
Yep.
And it's just that it's that little bit of connection. So it's that sharing of, hey,
Yeah.
this I for this brief moment in time, I thought about you. I thought you'd want to see
Yep.
this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's, to
I
me,
love it.
it's an aspect of love. It's sharing that love when it
Plus,
comes to it.
I think it's a great way for, well, especially like this time of year when we're all kind of cozied up in our own little pods,
Mm-hmm.
for people to stay in touch while
Yes.
still being connected while being disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those little check-ins. Yeah,
Yes. And I
because
know
it's not
that.
always something funny. Sometimes it's seriously like something like mental health or
Mm-hmm.
spiritual health. Yeah.
Exactly. I know, it's talking about getting slapped in the face. There was one about the other day about Sagittarians, and it was thinking about people is not enough to actually keep them connected to you. It was like, ooh, ouch. Yeah, you do
Rude.
actually have to reach out and say things and say hi periodically, which I know I am not the best at all. So it's just
It's
like,
so
ooh.
funny. I was listening to one of Ken's Patreon videos that
Mm-hmm.
he most recently did, and he was calling out Scorpios. which I think, he's apt to do because I
Mm-hmm.
believe he is one.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, rude and Scorpio moon over here. Like, that's a little too close to reality for me. Like, stop calling me out, please.
Yes, exactly. And it's
All
funny,
right.
the sun just came out. As you can see, I don't know if it got light here, and now it's kind of like dimming again. So, so we'll see what my light is doing for the next
Those
couple of minutes.
clouds. You
But
have
it
been
was raining here
illuminated.
earlier, I swear.
I love our bunny trails.
They're
Rope it in. I'm just kidding.
but no, it's ultimately, yeah. Back, what is the Kitchen Witch doing? We are cozying. We are cottage coring. We are kitchen coring. We are whatever you want to phrase that kind of thing. We are getting snuggly, is what I'm truthfully what it comes down to.
I love it. So, one other thing that I think about for this season is like colds and flus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what about like some magical and practical
Yes.
kitchen witchery around maybe preventing and or
Mm-hmm.
not curing, but treating
Mm-hmm.
symptoms?
Absolutely. And like I said, always with that. The first thing is honestly, it's super simple. It's the best thing. It doesn't taste the greatest, but it's throat coat tea.
Oh,
If you've never tried it, it's got a little bit of an anise kind of flavor to it. It's a little bit of a licoricey bite and a
but it's
cinnamon and
not too
licorice kind of.
that's not too strong. It's just
It's
very
a
herbal.
it's very herbal. It can be a little strong. You can sweeten it up, which helps with that a little bit. I know my partner puts like 3.5 teaspoons of sugar in there. I'm like
Honey.
half a teaspoon. Honey will work too. Actually, sugar works better to me. The flavor profile combination
Mm.
between the two than honey, but I use like the raw sugar, so it's got that kind of little bit molassesy kind of taste to it. But no, throat coat tea, you can find it at the grocery store. You can find it online at Amazon. I've ordered it. They have one with echinacea as well,
Mm.
which has more of a lemony scent aspect to it, which is nice if you have colds and such. But if you've got the sore throat, or honestly, even just if you need to do a lot of talking for some
So
reason, like you're
I
doing a
was gonna say
presentation or
I didn't necessarily like buy into the throat coat phenomena. Do, do,
do
do,
do
do,
do
do.
do
Phenomena.
do do
I
do.
didn't buy into it because I'd never had it before.
Mm-hmm.
But back in the day when we would do the pagan convention,
Mm-hmm.
and I was teaching classes, but my classes were like later in the convention, and you're
Mm-hmm.
spending days talking to people, like way using your voice
Mm-hmm.
way more than you normally would, and
Yeah.
I was getting raspy, and I was like, and I have to teach a class. And my friend Barry was like, throat coat, here we go. We
Mm-hmm.
have throat coat here, do throat coat. And I was like, nah, it's not. It did. It
Yeah.
totally does exactly what it says it's going to do. Like it 100, I swear by it. And Barry would know, having worked in the, theater
Theater. Yeah. Now for me, it
industry.
was again, my partner's a musician, so they
Yeah,
swear by it
right.
and then some. But also, there I was doing for my day job, was doing every year I did workshops, and there was a point in time where I literally gave myself full on laryngitis because I was just talking so much all the time that
Yeah.
I literally
Mm-hmm.
lost my voice completely. And it's like you need to drink throat coat, and you need to actually try Vocalese. That's another thing that you can
Oh,
do as well. It's you can find it on Amazon. Vocal Ease, EZE, I think is Vocal dash EZE, and it's like a honey lemon concentrate that you just spray in your throat, kind of like a chloroseptic, but it's not
I
numbing or
love it.
anything else. It's just super soothing. So if you've got a really raspy, dry throat, again, it's got a lot of honey and lemon and
Yep.
natural things in it to help soothe the throat and kind of just keep this whole portion working because a lot of us need this aspect to be able
Yeah.
to communicate on a regular basis. So, throat coat, phenomenal for just keeping healthy. Also, if you've got a cough and cold, there's a same company that makes throat coat, makes something called Breathe Easy.
Oh,
So, if you have the chest congestion, and the coughing, or you're just having a hard time breathing, the Breathe Easy is also phenomenal. So I swear by those two things. And then if I have an actual cold for treating, I actually go a different route. This is just something I have done forever, and that is hot water. So like you're making tea, squeeze a lemon, full lemon
mm-hmm.
in there, add honey, and add a shot of whiskey. So you're essentially making a hot lemonade,
Oh,
but the whiskey relaxes your body
An extra
enough
spicy
to
lemonade.
make things go through and go down, whereas the lemon is the soothing and the honey and all the
Mm-hmm.
natural properties of it. But I swear by those. And then, again, if I have a sore throat, um, or I'm just feeling under the weather, that shot of vitamin C with the honey and all of the stuff, and that it really makes a big difference. So again, that spicy hot lemonade, but even without the spicy factor, you don't, if you're sober and you don't do alcohol, by all means you can just do without it. But I do find that if you have the ability and to do the alcohol, it's not that it's going to get you drunk, because it's not what it's designed for. It's just really just about loosening up all the muscles and making them relax a little bit and your body relax a little bit, so it can help
Oh,
the ingredients kind of flow through better.
interesting. Yeah, very cool. Well, that's like good self-care for kitchen witchery self-care for this time of
Exactly.
year.
So again, those comfy, cozy things, but there's always, and just, it's hard to go wrong with any hot tea in general. I mean, seriously, beyond the throat coat and the
Yeah.
breathe easy and the hot lemonade, just hot
Mother
tea. Anything,
Nature's,
yeah.
taste the Mother Nature of the whatever's in the tea. I'm a herbal tea drinker. I know
Mm-hmm.
other people like their black tea or their green
Mm-hmm.
tea or their matcha, or
Mm-hmm.
there's, all the teas under the sun, and the boba teas. Oh, those are
Mm-hmm.
yummy too. But
Yeah,
yes,
like I
all the
said,
teas.
anytime I need to relax, it's chamomile. It's just straight chamomile.
Yum.
I mean, I've thrown chamomile tea bags into my bath before to, again, just kind of soothe and get that lemony soothing scent.
Mm-hmm.
Chamomile.
I'm a sucker
If
for mint.
Yeah,
Always any
mint
kind
is
of mint.
always great. Mint, though, you don't want to put it in a bath water.
Okay, I have
And
never done
or peppermint oil. And if you've ever done essential oils and extracts with mint, essential oils in a bathtub are fantastic. It's another way to do it. But there's
that,
something
but not
about
mint.
mint, especially peppermint. It actually has, because it has a cooling effect. So I have literally put peppermint extract in the bathtub, not thinking about it, going, oh, nice, cool, breezy freshness, and it makes your body cold. It's actually an
It's
endothermic reaction that makes your body super cold.
wow,
So I've gotten out of a hot bath shivering my butt off because I put too much
wow.
peppermint oil in the
I love it.
bathtub because I'm cold now, and you just
Learn from these mistakes.
can't warm up. So
It's funny
use
that you
peppermint
say
oil
that because
sparingly.
I remember being out at a festival, and they tend to happen during really hot times in the
Mm-hmm.
season. And somebody was like, try a dot of peppermint oil on, I want to say, the back of your neck. And it just
Mm-hmm.
helps your body kind of feel cooler.
Exactly. Yeah,
And,
there's something, and again, in the chemical processes of it, which I can't specify out, but it's a real thing that it actually does make your body temperature feel cooler. I don't know if it actually directly actually lowers it, but it
right.
definitely lowers the skin temperature and everything else.
Fascinating.
It's wild. I mean, you're welcome to try it if you want that experience, but it is a very weird experience. And I like hot baths. Getting out of a hot bath being cold because of peppermint.
Not the tea.
Not, yeah, not hypermagnet, but peppermint tea. Drinking wise, again, it's
Yum.
that soothing, calming,
It's
cooling.
also actually really good for your digestive system.
Mm-hmm.
That's why people used to have, or often would get, dinner mints to have
Mm-hmm.
after dinner, because it helps your digestive system calm the heck down.
Yes, and if you have same kind of aspect, if you're feeling nauseous or heartburn,
Yep,
ginger
100%. Well,
does the
and
same
like,
thing.
mint and ginger together
Mm-hmm.
really will, help with nausea and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's lots of, like I said, there's a lot of herbal recipes and a lot of herbal things that you can get out there that will
very
actually
cool.
help, that are really natural, and I love that.
And I'm in all for meds too. Like,
Mhm.
to be clear, I'm
Yeah,
not 100% crunchy.
right. No, but
In their
there's,
time and the place, the meds have to, do their
yeah,
thing. But I do
absolutely, but
love having other options as
mhm.
well.
And plants were nature's medicine before we had the ability
Oh
to
yeah.
process
Well, and I
chemically.
do think the
So,
over-the-counter medicines and the prescription medicines are made from nature as well,
mhm,
and some of the, other medicines.
mhm. Yes, herbals,
Yes,
natural herbal
all
medicine.
gifts from Mother Nature. Respect.
Yes. But yeah, so that's the main thing. The other fun aspect if again I talked about making like pulling out my crock pot, but what is
Yeah.
a crock pot but a big cauldron? So you can have a
Ooh.
lot of fun
Crockpot
doing
cauldron.
crock pot cauldrons and simmer pots, or like as we talked about in our last
Mm-hmm.
Kitchen Witchery episode, but also making food, good great food in there.
Soups.
Soups are fantastic again for
Soups. Oh,
warming you internally, as well as again warming the heart, but also warming your body internally. Easy to digest, easy to process, they last a long time. And you can put anything in there, and it's good as that idea of a slow cooking, so it takes time to break down, takes time for the flavors to come together, all of
smells
that.
really good for
Smells really
hours.
good. And there's fun. I have to put a plug out here too. There is a TikToker called Moody Mel, and her handle is the at the feral ex housewife,
Oh,
and she just is so fun. She calls it her Moody bitch slash Moody witch cauldron cooking, and she just goes through and she just chops in the green, she like stabs it, she's got this like dead look on her face the entire time, and it's such sarcasm and
I love it. I'm gonna have to go
everything
look her
all
up.
at once. She's so much fun. Like I said, I've just watched her do several things, and her recipes look great. I mean, they truly do look really yummy. So I can see that how it works. But again, it's just her presentation and the way she does it. It's really dark and really ridiculously over the top gothic, and it's great.
That sounds that sounds very entertaining. And
Yes.
I mean, I'm always down to explore new recipes as long as I can make them Damona safe because
Yes,
darn you
exactly.
food allergies.
Yeah, I know. That's the hard part with the food allergies. But there are a lot of ways, and I know you found a lot of recipes that you can do
Maybe we'll put
that are
their
safe.
link in the show notes.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I will have to look them up.
Yes, please do. Again, she's just fun. She really is.
Yeah, I
That's what I
mean,
have to say about TikTok and all the things. Like there are so many people that I follow. It's like I give you such props for thinking of something like this. There's another I'll have to find her name and I can't remember it at the moment, but she's Spanish and she's glam and she's does kitchen things and she's just full Spanish
oh,
craziness and the glam kitchen witch and or glam I don't know how to describe her. But yeah, she plays up her the over the top Latina Spanish cooking with full hair and makeup and big huge hats and chopping things up and yelling and all of these things, but it's just wild the way it all works.
I was just talking about the internet being, the
Hmm.
making prophecies, and I was thinking TikTok and YouTube.
Hmm.
It's kind of a way that we preserve the tradition of, having sharing
Hmm.
orally our cultures and our traditions,
Hmm.
and there's so much to be learned if you're just willing to listen to someone and tune
Yes.
into what they have to share, because
Hmm.
everybody has their little expertises,
Uh-huh.
which is one of the reasons we talk about kitchen witchery, because it's your
Right.
little expertise. So yeah, I love that we can learn from so many
Hmm.
little areas
No, I
and
agree.
share.
It was again side tangent, but it's even with health and with other things that are related. Um, you can find almost everything on YouTube at some point or another. I love that kind of sharing aspect to the point where sometimes here in the US, it can be very hard to get doctor's appointments. And it's like, you know what? What does YouTube's have to say about what's going on with this particular thing and this particular issue? And again, like everything else, Google is not everything on the internet is correct, but you know what? There have been some very wise sage pieces of advice. I know for my
Mm.
partner with ear issues for singing and making sure things are clear, that's been really really helpful. Heck, when we were putting up a pool, we found someone who was doing the same thing and just giving that kind of guidance. And I love that there are so many varied
It's the
things, and not
collective
just from
consciousness.
huge like producers of things. Like these are people, just random people who said, hey, I want to do this thing, let me put it up on YouTube. And it's really nice to see that almost everyone has done something or other at another point in time, and it's great to be able to find that and have that as a resource, even if it's just like, okay, I saw them do that, I don't want to do it that way, uh kind
So
of thing.
totally a little bit of a side tangent, but on this note, like, I actually now have dreams about meeting particular people I admire through TikTok. And it's
Hmm.
like, not they're not celebrities, but like okay, that's debatable because maybe one. There are two that I dream about meeting for some reason that I would probably call a celebrity, but like Darcy and Jer. I
Uh-huh.
always joke that
Yes.
me and my wife, I'm like the sapphic version of Darcy, and my wife is the sapphic Jer.
Yes.
And so I keep dreaming about meeting them and being like, oh my god, I'm like the gender spectrum opposite of you or whatever. Like
Yes.
we're the same people in different bodies. And I always am wary, never meet your idols type thing, but I do think
Right.
that they would be probably like the most enjoyable people to meet. And speaking of which,
Uh-huh.
I get to go see Mercury Stardust.
No. Oh, fun. That'll be so much fun. That'll
Yeah,
be so
me and
much
Winter,
fun.
and we're gonna take the kids.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully it's one of those like it's a good experience and not one of
Mm-hmm.
those never meet your idols type thing. But
Right.
I have
But
had dreams about meeting Mercury Stardust, just being like, thanks for being you. It's pretty fucking awesome.
yeah, I'm not super familiar with them, but I'll have to look them up.
Oh yeah, she's the trans handyman.
Oh, yes. Yes, yes,
Yeah. So every
yes.
time when like the planet Mercury goes into the microwave,
Uh-huh.
people are like, Mercury's in the microwave again. And then there's like this video that she made at one point that gets reshared all the time where she's looking in the microwave like, I am? I didn't know I was in the microwave. Yeah, so anyways, I just love people being themselves. And I know
Mm-hmm.
that there's some production to it, or it's
Oh,
usually
always.
like, but also I've seen people share like just the reality of what they're feeling in a moment, and it's not always pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like it's humanizing people.
Yes.
Yeah. I love modern technology and what it's done for our collective growing our world smaller and being
Mm-hmm.
able to share and cultures and learn to respect other cultures and learn the real history that we weren't taught in
Mm-hmm.
colonizer school.
Yeah. And finding your tribe. Finding and realizing that, hey, there are other people out there who like that same odd, weird, whatever you want to call it, thing that I do, that there are others out there who speak that same language. And again, even just sometimes it's great being able to meet them or talk to them or send them notes, but even just sometimes just knowing that they're out there
You're right.
can help you know that that you're not alone. And that is
Yeah.
really, really cool.
Yeah. Just out there being you
Mm-hmm.
and permitting other people to do the same.
Yes.
Definitely a passion of mine.
Yes. And believe it or not, that's actually kind of an aspect of kitchen witchery. It's again that idea of being yourself, doing what you love, getting things
Putting
out
the
that you're
magic
doing,
into it.
putting your own form of personality and magic and aspects of just all the wildness or all the things and the thoughts and the flavors that are in your head and getting them out there and sharing them is actually a very kitchen witchery thing to do, is that sharing
Yay.
aspect of it.
So, what other kind of things come to mind as far as self-care at
Mm-hmm.
the, winter months, winter season? There's a lack of sunlight. I know
Mm-hmm.
that I'm really happy that a friend of mine bought myself a light therapy lamp.
Mm-hmm.
So, seeing how that helps me with the SADS
Mm-hmm.
this year. But there's a lot of around darkness, things
Mm-hmm.
getting dark a lot earlier. Um, what kind of spiritual self-care would you
Mm-hmm.
recommend as a kitchen witch?
The natural progression, as you're going into winter months when you're talking spiritual thing, is to dive deeper into the shadow work. Now we start seeing that with Samhain and that
Mm-hmm.
changing of the wheel leading into Yule, but also especially now we've gone through those phases of October and November and December, and now we're in this period of January. We have a new year going. We have just gone through all of that craziness of the holiday
Yeah.
season, and pretty much from October to January 1st, there's almost always one thing after another here in the US. There's Halloween, then there's Thanksgiving, and then there's other holiday celebrations depending on your tradition. Like I said, we talked about
Mm-hmm.
all those different things that are available, but those 3 month periods can be very, very impactful and very overwhelming in
Mm.
so many ways. And so when we get into January, there's a very dramatic drop
Yeah.
It's like almost like a top drop kind of thing where you're going from high, 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 and then all of a sudden there's nothing and you crash.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's funny that you say that because you're also moving from Sagittarius season and right into Capricorn,
exactly.
right at like that winter is, is season peak.
Inside, yeah,
And
Sagittarius are
it
go, 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 and Capricorns are wait a minute, let's do this logically, let's do this methodically, let's slow this down,
ground it, ground it
ground it
out.
out.
Yep. So it is a huge shift in energy.
Mm-hmm. So what a lot of that comes down to is that tends to lean well towards shadow work. And because now you've seen all of the highs, and now it's like, okay, the highs can amplify the lows. So now it brings up the things that you may not have recognized or have been pushing back, and you can't hide from them anymore. And now it is time to start working and dealing with those aspects of shadow. And again, shadow is not necessarily bad. And I want people to understand that shadow work is not a negative thing necessarily. It's really about those aspects of you that you are not as comfortable with as your bright self, if that makes sense. But uncomfortable does not mean that it's bad. It's mean that there are things that you need to recognize why this feeling is making you comfortable. Is it systemic shame based on societal obligations that you aren't meeting? What is that aspect of shadow work that you are dealing with? Is it because do you have a temper? Is it because is there childhood trauma that forces something else that is causing a reaction that is making you deal with it? So diving into shadow work in a healthy way is something that can do nothing but bring yourself a little bit more clarity. And as we're going into this January and into Imbolc in February and things that are coming up, and we start shifting back towards that springtime and this opening up, this is that if you want to again talk
New year,
talk
new you.
new year, new you, but also that deep dark of the planting of the seeds. We're in the winter month, we are fallow, but there are things that are going
Happening
underneath the
beneath the
surface.
surface.
And this is the time to start dealing with those things that are happening underneath the surface. So when the springtime comes, you can start blooming and growing. And again, if you take care of the ground, it's going to provide the necessary structure for roots, for things to grow and nurture and get the nutrients that they need to move into something that's going to be bigger and brighter. And so dealing with shadow work is really, really important.
I feel like we
And
could do a whole episode on shadow work, and
I think we probably should at some point.
For reals. But I really liked what you said about what's happening beneath the surface, because I always think about how 60% of the earth is the underwater and so far down that light doesn't even reach it. So the abyss, right? The great abyss, the great mysteries. Like shadow work isn't meant to be scary, but you touched on, it could be uncomfortable, but I also think it's healing, because the truth is that's so hard for people to see, because they always want to say but the truth is that in your imperfections you are here perfectly you. And you don't have to hide who you are. You don't have to be ashamed of that. We're all human. We all have these different experiences, and shame is taught and learned and can be unlearned. And a lot of people who aren't aware of their shadow aspects tend to project or detach from them and see them everywhere else but inside themselves.
Right.
And when people are willing to do that deep dive and say, it really bothers me when people are like this, because I'm kind of like that, and I don't like being like that. I don't like that part of myself. But you know what? I'm human. This is who I am, and there's so much to like about me, and I can accept that I'm not perfect. I'm not, and I can love me just where I'm at right now. And I think that shadow work is one of the most empowering things one can do, if you can bring it back around to reintegration and loving yourself in all of your imperfections, because you are who you are meant to be.
Yes, self-awareness.
And if you're not being who you are meant to be, how can we get you on that path?
Exactly. That's one of the things that I know you and I've had many discussions offline about this, is we don't trust people who are all light. You must live in the light. You must be in the light all the time. It's like, well, you know what? I love, laugh, light, and all that kind of stuff. That's great. And light is not a bad thing. We need light to survive as well. But you can't live there all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
even naturally, sleep cycles, you need dark to sleep. You need that dark to reset your body. And same thing with that aspect of the shadow. It gives you the grounding and the self-awareness that you need. So I really worry, and I'm cautious of people is like, oh, you have to live in the light, live in the light, live in the light. Yes, to a point, but if you're living so far in the light that you're not seeing the dark, you're being delusional.
Yeah.
And that's its own kind of problem. And now you're not seeing, now you're not, like you said, recognizing what it is. And to be authentic, to be authentically yourself, you have to be self-aware, which means you need to know and recognize and understand
Permit.
sometimes those darker aspects that, hey, this is who I
Unshame.
am. And
Yeah.
yeah, disconnect them from the shame
Yep.
aspect that we, again, society loves to throw on people
Hey, you
because
got to control
they
the
don't meet the
masses
mold.
somehow, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've tried shame, and shame seems to work really, really well for a lot of people.
That's why we're doing the hard work of dismantling those systems.
Exactly. And oppression. Shame and
Yeah.
oppression. Like I said, again, we
Mm-hmm.
both acknowledge we are white females, and there's a whole lot of colonizer background that we're working to disconnect and acknowledge. And that's its own version of shadow work that, again, we could talk about in a whole nother episode.
Absolutely.
But
Cultural shadow work. And I think it's happening. And
mhm,
I'm doing what I can to tune in and
yes.
listen and learn, and also not like speak over the voices that need to be heard
Mhm,
in that regard. And if anybody wants to come on and talk with us about any of
please.
that, we would
Please.
love, love to talk on these topics. But I would love to elevate the voices that need to be heard most
Mhm,
on these. And I want to learn. And
mhm,
I know that I'm still learning, because I know that I was raised in a culture,
mhm,
in a world where these systems of oppression do exist,
mhm.
and are kind of not talked about, or have been swept under the rug, or people have been taught to believe other things, and it's so complicated. The world out there is so complicated.
Mhm.
So the
And
best we can do is keep learning.
and again, the systemic systems, systemic racism, and the procedures and systems that have been put in place that you don't even acknowledge
Mm-hmm.
and realize. It's just that constant
Mm-hmm.
learning, and it's that constant learning that even as we're saying that I am learning and trying to learn
Yep.
about this, there's a level of privilege in being able to say that.
Yeah.
And it's not just for oh, I'm trying to be woke, or trying to be toot my own horn. It's no, I'm truly trying to acknowledge, but also at the same time, I acknowledge that even in that statement, there's a level of privilege that I can do
Yeah.
that.
And the
Um,
more I learn, the more I realize that I had no idea. I don't
oh
know.
God, yeah.
There's so much I don't know.
Hmm.
But I'm so grateful for people who are out there
Yes.
spreading true, real, accurate information that's a real lived experience,
Hmm.
so that, again, we're all in this thing, this third rock from the sun, earth thing together.
Right. And I truly believe that at some point in time, if we could get to the point where we could listen to each other and truly value each other as who we are, regardless of skin tone or
Language,
language or
abilities,
ability, disability, all of that, and
gender
truly see the
expressions,
value in the human
the
that is
human.
there.
Mm-hmm.
And I say human because right now we are connected as humans. If there are other species out there that are masquerading as human or vice versa, I want
We
to throw
would
it out that I'm
include them
open to all of
too.
them too. But right now, at this time and point in time where we are at, in the middle of January 2024, as far as we know, humans are the only, I don't want to say intelligent species because that's not the right thing, but the only, you know what
The
I
only
mean.
ones on the internet.
Yes, the only ones on the internet. No, but the idea of the only ones who are visually aware and out there as a sentient creature.
Sentience. So, on the topic of shadow work,
Hmm.
what what would you recommend? Like, what tools or methodologies uh to help people kind of get into it, especially those who maybe are just learning about it, or
Hmm.
only dabbling, or
Right.
kind of coming to it kind of fresh, or even some ideas that for people that who are used to following the seasons, and
Hmm.
doing that kind of work, but maybe something they haven't considered. What would you use or recommend?
There's so many different tools, but I think for me, I tend to mostly do tarot because again, that's my default, my go
Or
to,
oracle cards
or
or
oracle tarot
yeah.
cards, oracle cards, and charms. Charms is my other
I
thing
love
that
your
I
charms.
do. But that helps me kind of look at it, and now it's a matter of saying, what do I need to know about what's happening in the world right now, or what do I need to know about the next few weeks? It's now, what do I need to know about myself that needs to be illuminated? And asking those
I love.
questions of the tarot deck or of the charm oracle cards, the charms, all that kind of stuff will come through. So that's my preferred tool. But meditation, journaling, I want
Mm-hmm.
to be a much better journaler than I am.
Fair.
It's just one of those things. I love writing stories, I love doing those kinds of things, but journaling, there's something about it that makes you go and I just can't do it.
Can I share something with you? Because I am very similar and I blame it on my neurospiciness. Uh, and like, I don't love the physical aspect of writing. And there's this weird feeling that I have about words just being solid that I
Hmm.
can't just, edit or erase
Hmm.
or, look up how to spell. So I beat myself up. I go like, I really should be journaling more, right? But then I look at the notes app on my phone
Yes.
and I jot down all these thoughts. I have all these
Hmm.
work in progresses. I put a lot of tarot readings I deliver. First, they get written out in there, and then I copy and pasta them to
Hmm.
people. Um, so I kind of think I do journal. I just end up
Hmm.
doing it on my phone. Poems. I have so
Yeah.
much poetry that I just random ass poetry that I find on
Hmm.
all the classes that I've put together or written. They're all in my notes.
Yes.
So like I guess I kind of do journal. I'm
You.
just really more like I'd rather type or
Hmm.
dictate and be able to like touch and look up definitions or spelling for words and maybe I'm just a modernized. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's very possible. I have been trying again the whole idea of the witch's dream is to create your own book of shadows that's glorious that you see in Charmed and all the other things that are all these handwritten things and beautiful calligraphy and I have bought a couple of different like small journal books where I started doing a tarot study where I literally took three different tarot decks, copied the pictures of each. I took a picture of each card, shrunk them, put them in there, and tried to do the comparison. So, what does the Empress look like across three different decks, and what are the similarities and
Mm,
everything else? So, I got all the way through the major arcana, and I got the pictures of swords in there, and it's been sitting like that for 3 years. I get these things where I want to try to do it, and it's like I know it'll be this amazing thing when I'm done. I just can't
yeah.
get myself to go in there and write it down. And I think, like what you said, it's that permanence thing. It's like, oh crap, if I accidentally start misspelling something, I can't cross it out or I can't erase it back up and retype it or something else. And
It's so funny
it's
because I also have the struggle with stickers. So my bestie bought me like a sticker journal
mhm.
that's just you can reuse them. You can peel and stick and move them around and they don't lose their stickiness so that I can play
Yes.
with stickers without them being a permanent thing.
I know they gave me one too, and I lost it. I can't figure out in the move.
Oh,
It's disappeared. I
I
can't find it. I've
recently
got all
found
these
mine
stickers that
again.
I want to put them in.
Yeah,
I may need to talk to him and say, "Hey, where did you go? I
where'd
did
you get
that sticker
those?
book. I need another one."
Yeah, yeah. I
Because
keep
I did.
getting
I was
awesome
loving that. I
stickers.
was loving that. It's like, oh, I can put my sticker book.
Yeah, it's so funny how we have to brain hack sometimes.
Exactly. But yeah, so if you have the ability to journal, going back
Yeah,
to the topic at hand, if you have that
right.
ability, you love journaling and writing, it
That's a
is a
great.
fantastic tool. It's just not one that my brain recognizes as a way to do it.
I'm a
But
member of a Facebook group that's really cool
mhm,
that we might talk about at one point in the near future.
yes.
But a friend of mine posts shadow work prompts
Hmm.
once a week.
Okay, yeah.
So, and a lot of times that they do tie into like journaling or
Hmm.
art of some kind.
Hmm.
And art is also a really great tool
Yes.
if you don't want to write words,
Hmm. Draw
doodle,
pictures or
draw
whatever.
pictures, or
I
just
tend to
paint a feeling.
hmm I tend to take those journal prompts and think about them, and I'll think about it and game it all out in my head and everything else. So I'll do the work of it, but I won't actually put it down permanent.
I've
Um,
never done that before.
But
I
there are
love
other
it.
tools and things like that. So those are the kind of the big ones. But there's also aspects, and this is one I'm not familiar with, but I've seen done. Have had people do it to me. Is different versions of scrying.
Oh,
So scrying
yes.
is essentially going into a trance-like state and looking into a medium of some sort. Sometimes it's a crystal ball. Sometimes it can be
Mm-hmm.
like a dark mirror.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned one that there's they pour wax into water
Yes.
and
Yeah,
see
I've
the
seen
way
it on
the
TikTok.
images
A
go.
non-binary transmasc person
Hmm.
on TikTok. I've watched them do pouring wax into water and
Hmm.
then just delivering the message through. I don't know how. What
Yeah.
I have no idea what their process is. I've just seen them do it and it looks really really cool. So
Mhm.
I'll totally share. Their name is Cass, and I'll
Okay.
totally share their TikTok as well.
Please. Yeah. Because it's
I
just,
think that their like TikTok name is like I'm a like underscore a underscore Cass underscore catastrophe.
that's awesome.
Catastrophe. I just thought that was brilliant.
That's
I
great.
really like them.
But it's people will have their own version at that point of what they want, and a tool that works, methodology that works best for them. But that kind of
Mm-hmm.
idea of scrying, tea leaf reading is
Mm-hmm.
another one that's very common. It has an ancient history to it. Not something that I practice directly, but something I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious about, and that may
Oh man,
be
and if we could do like a whole have someone on and do a whole episode on the topic of tea and tea scrying and tea magic and tea.
yes.
Oh, mm.
Yes, 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 yes. We'll work on that.
If it's your expertise, let us know. Send us an email.
Exactly. So yes, there's
We'll
lots of
have you
different
as a guest.
methodologies that you can do to kind of go internally, and it's it's about that. Sometimes it's even just finding a playlist of music that can pull you into that kind of altered
Yes.
state. So it's really, there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different methodologies, and you will, again, your mileage may vary. What works for you may not work for someone else, and the only way you're going to know is by trying
I
things.
appreciate all of these ideas
Yeah,
because
and we get, I think sometimes we get caught up in the idea of you
there's
try
only
too
one way
many
to do it,
things,
or a right
you
way
don't,
or a wrong way.
yeah, or you try too many things and you don't finish what you're doing. Well, how am I going to know if I like something unless I try it? And if I try it and
Mm.
I don't like it, why am I going to keep doing it?
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
really, but that's a shame culture. That's a shame
Yeah.
idea that comes into it. And it's like,
And then if
okay,
you
so,
do something that feels good and works, then just keep doing that as long as
right.
it feels good and feels right and it works for you.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I love it.
So there's a lot of different things there. But ultimately, when it truly comes down to it, you're diving into that shadow, you're digging deep, you have all
Hmm.
of these things that come up in that shadow work that you're dealing with. It ties back to the very beginning, is after you've had that top and now that drop of the high months, and then you've dropped down and now you're dealing with this internal shadow stuff. That is honestly when you need the self-care back the most.
Yes.
Now that you've done that
Mm.
really heavy thinking about something, or you've done the tarot reading that's like, hey, this is what you need to go and think about, or this is this aspect of yourself that you don't like,
Or unpack some
perhaps,
kind of
or
trauma
unpack
that you
some
weren't
trauma or
facing.
something,
Yeah.
you really need that cozy self-care to come back. And that's where to act as that balm, to act as that grounding, to bring you back into yourself. And so you don't sit in the shadow, because we need the shadow, but we don't want to sit there. Just like we don't want to sit in the light for too long, you don't want to sit in the
Hmm.
shadow for too long. It really is about that balance between the two, and being able to come back out and deal with some and do some of those things that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Cozy blankets, snuggling up with your favorite plushie or stuffy, and
Getting your soup out of the
getting your
crock pot
soup.
cauldron.
Yeah, all
Ground
those
yourself.
things
Care for
bringing you
your
back.
body.
Hmm.
Yeah, you've done the soul work, you've done the spirit work. Now care for the body. Take care of
Exactly.
yourself.
And
Yeah.
body, mind, and spirit, they're all connected. They really are.
It's all a
Is
part of the
that three?
cycles, symbolism, and patterns.
So,
I love
um,
it. I like
yeah,
how
so
that all
that's,
comes full circle, how we talk
hmm,
about the self-care, we talk
hmm,
about the soul work, and then we talk about caring for ourselves after the deep soul work. That's
yeah,
what's really the essence of, I think, this time of year right now.
hmm, exactly. It's what we need internally to be able to acknowledge, again, to step into your authentic, to step into your own authentic self. You need to know thyself. You need to know and acknowledge what you
Yeah.
need, what you have, highs, lows, goods, bads, all those things. Like you said, make up this beautiful, unique person that you are.
I actually believe
And
it's not enough to just know yourself, but I also think the next step is then to love what you know
mm-hmm,
and what you
yeah,
don't know
yeah,
and make accommodations
mm-hmm,
for yourself.
agreed, absolutely. Yeah, know yourself, love yourself,
Yeah.
accommodate yourself. I love
Yeah.
adding accommodate yourself into that.
Yes.
I
Because
truly
I'm
do.
I'm
And
over the ableist BS
yeah,
of the capitalistic society in which I was raised. Go
fully,
figure.
fully. Like I said, listen to what your body needs and
Yeah.
accommodate it.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
words I need to live by myself right now, I fully admit.
I mean, I'm just saying. Okay. My darling moon friend.
uh, I love your face.
I love you.
All right. Is there anything we missed? I know we've been rambling on for a long time, but I
Yeah.
think we kind of hit almost
I'm
all the things that we
pretty sure we
need.
did.
And I
Yeah.
can't really add anything beyond that for this topic. For there are so many things, but as always,
Cozy
if you guys
self-care.
think of something that you do, please share it with us. And again, we
Yes.
always say like and follow in the outro, but every thumbs up that you give on YouTube or every follow that you do in Spotify or subscribe, it makes a huge difference. Watching
And
it is awesome. That thumbs up or the subscribe makes a huge difference in us being able to boost the algorithm. So get out to more people who may be interested, or again, sharing this with people that you think in your own circles. If you hear this and catch it and you like what you hear and you know someone who might want to know more about it, sharing it with them, all of that makes a really big difference for helping us get this idea out, because we want to, the way we get more people out and get more knowledge, we can have more amazing people come in
yeah.
and get those guests who want to talk, who
Yeah.
can talk about the
Different
intersection
cultures
of
and
systemic oppression and racism and witchery and all that kind of thing, and those topics that we don't have. That we want those people coming in, and the only way we're going to get them is if we broaden and expand these out. So
well,
that's
and
my
here's
plea.
the other thing. I can ramble on about me and my experiences
Hmm.
and ask you questions all day long, but I
And vice
also
versa.
want to connect with our listeners. I want to know more about
Absolutely.
you. I want to know
Hmm.
about what your cultural traditions are. I want to know what you're doing for self-care right now. And I
Hmm.
would love to know what's your favorite way of staying warm and cozy. So like really
Yes.
do share with us in the comments, and we love hearing from you and getting to
Hmm.
know who's listening to us.
Exactly. What's your favorite soup? Please tell
Oh,
me. What's your favorite soup? I want to know. I love soup.
like you want me to tell you right now?
Yes, you too, but
Okay.
Donna. But I want our listeners to tell me what's your favorite soup.
Well, I'm just saying, I always have a big craving for the Panera's cream of chicken and wild rice.
Okay.
So I haven't tried it homemade yet, but I kind of want to one of these days.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, cream of chicken and wild rice, or chicken noodle soup is
Mhm.
always like a classic, very yummy.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We
What's your
have
favorite soup?
that's like asking what my favorite song is. It's really hard,
Yeah.
but a good one that in fact we have it on the menu to make this week is a potato leek soup
Ah,
with
if I ate potato leek soup, I would eat. Never mind.
yes, but potato leek soup, and we put bacon and cheese and everything else. So it
No.
almost becomes like a loaded baked potato soup in there. So that
Wow.
is on the list, and it's great because it has no dairy in it, which is great for me. But I know that doesn't help you with the potato allergy.
Yeah.
But yes, there's that one. Also, another one that I love. I love making stew. I love making beef stew a
Uh,
lot.
I bet
So I
that
make that
smells
fairly
good.
regularly.
Yeah.
But
Well, I think that wraps up our
yes.
episode of our cozy self-care winter season kitchen witchery with our
Yes.
beautiful kitchen witch Shay Moonkittee, reminding us of the importance of self-care, shadow
Hmm.
work, and self-care for the shadow work, and shadow
Yes.
work,
And accommodating yourself after
and
you've done the shadow
accommodation.
work.
Yes, exactly. So with all of that, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the Queer Witch Project. If you liked what you heard today, leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up. We love hearing from you.
Hmm. And if there's a topic you would like to know more about, or an episode topic you'd like to suggest, please contact us at thequeerwitchproject@gmail.com, or find us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram with the handle at Queer Witch Project. We upload twice a month, almost every other week. And remember, queerness is a key to magic.
Be yourself and love rebelliously. Bye.
Bye.